Hello. Happy New Year. It's 2021. We made it, you guys. We made it in one piece out of 2020. Welcome to Bonus Rants. I know we usually do Minority Reports podcast today, but it's the new year, okay? So I'm trying to take it easy. I'm trying to still keep the rhythm going. And so here we are. What did you guys do for New Year's? I made a bunch of really delicious Pakistani food. I had a couple of friends over, totally safe. All have been tested. One of them actually works in an infectious lab disease because she is an infectious disease lab because she's a scientist. And the other one's a stand-up comic. And we had a merry old time. And I was in such a food coma that I didn't wake up till noon today. So there's also that. But enough about me. I am going to bring up a very funny friend of mine. I've known him for a long time now. Actually, since I've been in LA, he goes by Valley Jesus, and he's going to predict as the Valley Jesus what to expect in 2021 and the lessons we've learned in 2020. Here's my very talented friend Ryan Talmo. How are you?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just
okay, making sure. How are you doing?
I'm good. How was your New Year's? What'd you do?
Honestly, I think we all went to bed early last night. We have a full family of 7 people in this house. So, I don't know if you Mona, you already know, I have a daughter of a few months right now from my dad. She keeps me awake. So, we pretty much all crashed around like 11:30 last night. And so that's basically how I celebrated ending 2020 was nice. Just not doing anything for a couple hours, not worrying about anything, and then going into 2021. So
well, you became a papa, and what is your daughter's name?
Her name is Nicoletta. Nicoletta Lucia Talmo. So Nicoletta is my great grandmother's name. And I thought I thought that was her. Lucia is my fiance's grandmother's name. And so she has a really old world name, I guess, Nicoletta Lucia Talmo. So she's already a Yentl, and she's only a few months old. So that's good to know.
That's so sweet. Is your fiance Mexican?
Yes, she is.
So you have a half Mexican child.
Yes, half Mexican, half Italian.
I love it. I love it. You're like legit diversifying your portfolio. This is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, her skin's a little light on my side, but she has a lot of Mexican roots in her, so for sure.
That is so sweet. You know, Ryan, for you, I know, man, like you go by the Valley Jesus. By the way, who came up with that name? I don't even know.
So that happened like I think 7 years ago. I mean, I had my hair pretty much long my entire time doing comedy. Michael Amico. I don't know if you remember Michael Amico's a comic out here in LA. There was one night, I think he called me the Geico Caveman. And I was like, dude, I don't like that. And he was like, because I got the brow and everything. So he's like, what about Valley Jesus? And I'm like, that kind of sticks. Yeah. And it just went from there. And we kept using it. And even when I was sick, it was the Valley Jesus. That's the trippy part. So
the Valley Jesus. I like it. So Ryan, 2020.
Yes.
For you, 2019 was a pretty challenging year because you overcame cancer. Didn't you? Were you fighting cancer during 2019?
Actually, it was 2018. I was going through. Yeah. So 2019 was my entire year of not dealing with it, and then 2020, it felt like it just came back in a way because everything that we're doing was what I was doing when I was sick. I couldn't be around crowds. I had to wear face masks because I was taking chemo and I had no immune system. So to me, I thought this whole pandemic was more of a broader thing for a cancer patient because this is what we dealt with day after day.
Right. Ryan, you got diagnosed. Was it like a throat cancer that you got diagnosed?
It was blood cancer. It was blood cancer. It was in my neck, so it kind of looked like throat cancer, but it was blood cancer. So it was a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it was stage 3, and I was probably a week or 2, maybe a month away from having stage 4. So that was like kind of like the leeway of how I got through it, because if I had stage 4, then I'm screwed. Right. But I had cancer in my neck. It was also in my chest and in my lungs, and then it was in my groin and my spleen. So it's spreading everywhere. And if I got to stage 4, then it would have been in my spinal cord, and then I've been producing cancer pretty much, and then I would have been knocked out dead. But obviously, I'm here in 2020, or 2021. I'm sorry, New Year. So
Thank
yeah,
God. What?
yeah.
I mean, first of all, how did you even stumble upon the fact that you had cancer?
Well,
Was it by
weird is
accident,
that
or your neck just started swelling, and you're
it
like,
just
what
started
the fuck?
swelling. It was weird because I remember I was doing a show at Petey's place, and a comic pointed out like, "Hey, you have a lump in your neck." And I remember it was in August, and I was thinking it was more like maybe an allergic reaction, or I was just coming down with something. Because when your lymph nodes get swollen, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I maybe had a bad cold or the flu. And then as the months were progressing, the lump was going in and out, kind of like getting bigger, then smaller. But my health was deteriorating too. So I think the last few months before I actually went to the hospital, I continually had this flu because I had no immune system at the time because my lymph nodes were pretty much down. So I was just getting sick over and over again. So it was obviously there's something wrong with me. And also I was losing a lot of weight. So I was down to 117 pounds during that time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're having, but before that, you didn't really have any symptoms, or did you have symptoms and then the neck thing started coming out as well?
My symptoms were I had weight loss and I was sweating at night. And my appetite was different. And that's basically kind of the symptoms that you have when you find out you have lymphoma. And then the other symptoms kind of kick in when you find out that, I think, when you're diagnosed, because then your body actually accepts the fact that you're sick, and then everything else comes just rushing through your body. Because when you don't know you're sick, you just keep moving. And that's how I was functioning. And then when I found out I was sick, that's when I kind of shut down.
Ryan, it's interesting, scientists more and more are doing this mind-body connection where it's exactly what you just said. So before you didn't know you had cancer, so you were just going about your life. But the moment you got diagnosed, your brain was just like, we have a problem. Like, we have an illness. And then your mind and your body are just like, okay, now we're gonna become one.
Now we work together.
Now we're working together, right?
Yes.
Which could be a good thing or which could be a bad thing. But I think in your case, it sounds like you also kind of mentally started, it sounds like you were on a more of a positive note where you were like, I'm going to beat this fucking thing.
Yeah. Before, true story, the day I remember the day pretty well. I went to the urgent care. I didn't have any health insurance at the time. And so the only place I go is the urgent care. They looked at me. They said there's something wrong with me, but they're going to figure out, they got to do more results, more testing, and all that kind of crap. Right. So the next day I was going to go to work, and I was taking the metro into my job. And then the urgent care doctor called me on my own personal phone, pretty much, which the urgent care doctors don't even care about you usually. Their job is just basically just give you a prescription, get out of there.
Right.
And he told me, you got to go to the hospital. And I was like, nah, I'll go to the hospital eventually. I was thinking about work. Like, let me go to work. Let me take care of this catering, and then I'll go to the hospital after. And then he said, no, work will understand. You need to go now. And that's the very first thing I did. I just dropped what I was doing, and I went to the hospital. But in the back of my head, I wanted to go to work first. I was thinking, let me just do my 9 to 5. Yeah. And then at 5, I'll go home, get the paperwork, and then go to the hospital. So, and this
is why women live longer than men. I just want to point that out, because women be like, to the hospital, I'm there right now. And you're like, thinking about work.
No, we milk it out. Men milk it out. And so my urgent care doctor just told me, do it now. And here I am now. I mean, seriously, if I did not go, I would probably been dead. So it's every little step matters. And then so when I did go to the hospital and they did diagnose me, for some reason, in the back of my head, I just knew that I'm going to make it, and it's going to be okay.
Right. I mean, and this is what we're talking about, August of 2018. Is that what we're talking?
Well, I found the lump in August, but then I found the lump in August of 2017, and then I went into the hospital in April of 2018. So I had a lump in my neck for that long, from August to April.
Man, Ryan, I think about exactly what you just said, which is, when you're going through a chemo, you have no immune system. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how absolutely difficult and devastating must it be for people going through chemo in 2020, right? During a pandemic. I mean, it's like everything is a goddamn landmine.
Yeah, it's I feel for that. I mean, that's when everyone's kind of like, just go out, don't wear a mask and whatnot. I had to wear a mask wherever I went back in 2018 when I was going through chemo. So for the first 3 months when I was going through my treatments, my doctors told me literally don't leave my house. I couldn't go to the grocery store. I couldn't go to the mall. I couldn't go to the movie theaters. And those were supposedly be great escapes when you're going through chemo to go to the movie theater and just sit there and watch a movie. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be around more than 10 people because I didn't know who's sick. If I caught the cold to the flu, I could have been dead because I had literally no immune system. And so that's when it comes to this pandemic. And it's not just cancer patients. There's just some people that have weak immune systems that can pick up the flu just like that. And they don't know what's going to happen to them. And so it's trickier. And that's the whole argument. It's like, oh, this is just like the flu. It's like, it's not though. So
I'm so sick of people saying it's like the flu. Ryan, I legit broke up with I was seeing a guy briefly and he fucking came out and said it's like the flu. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, just don't. I can't do it. I got a lot of friends and I love them dearly, but when they say it's like the flu, it's like it's a little bit of selfish. It's just like come on, man. Like it's
ignorance, right?
It's
like volunteer, conscious ignorance to be like, I want to be able to do whatever I want. It's like it just sounds like that.
But the weird thing is that they still can do whatever they want. It's just when they go out, just wear a mask. Just
right.
Respect people's space. And again, I don't think anyone really understands or appreciates life until they go through something that changes their life.
Sure.
And so for me, what I went through, it changed my whole perspective on everything. So again, with this pandemic, it's all about patience. So, things will get back to normal. It won't be normal, but you just have to let things heal and let things kind of progress and move. And it's kind of hard to explain, but for me as being a cancer survivor, I had to be patient and I had to progress and keep moving forward. And then eventually you surpass the hump of going through cancer. And so for me, the pandemic is like the planet is going through its own cancer and we need to push through the hump and then eventually we'll move on and we'll move forward. But then we also evolve and change, and our tactics change, and how we see things change, and so that's how life is. People don't want to change. That's just basically what's going on.
Right. I mean, look, change requires, change is painful. Like change is painful. It really is. That's why they call moving your house as one of the most traumatic experiences. Change. It's painful. I get it. Ryan, when you got diagnosed and when you discovered that you have cancer, I mean, first, A, what the fuck is going through your mind? And B, are you going and then telling your relatives, like your parents, your family, your friends, like who's learning about this?
It's
or you're
funny.
like, no, I'm not going to tell anybody.
I was very vocal about it. I don't know if you recall, but I was writing down every little thing I was doing pretty much. And I thought that was the way. I was not the way, but that's my way to communicate through my pain. Yeah. And my parents were actually there when I got diagnosed. And
they were with you in the hospital?
They came with me. So I brought them with me.
Wow.
And so they sat in the doctor's office with me and they gave me the diagnosis. And then my dad, he wrote down on a piece of paper, he put down 80-20 and he said, Ryan, just take this as a note. 80% is mind over matter. 20% will be the medication. Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of got to me, was just kind of like, okay, if I can just keep living my life and keep moving forward, sure, I can get through this. And just take the medication when I need to take the medication.
Sure.
And so, and then pretty much minutes after I got diagnosed, I did go on Facebook and I think I just said rock and roll. I got diagnosed with lymphoma.
I followed all your posts. Yeah, I followed all your posts and I was like, I'm sure so many of your friends and, comic community really was very, very forward and prayed for your well-being. I mean, it's a tough thing, man, to see, a fellow comic, I consider you a friend, like I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
See go through something like that. When you're going through this, like, okay, so you're taking medication, but then are you just going to work and what are you doing?
I was not working. I took time off, got disability. Good old disability is great. It saved me. And
the motherfuckers who want to take away the social. I don't want to live in.
You need that. You need that. And then there was a few fundraisers that some comics put together, which I greatly appreciate. And that saved me, because that's the entire comedy community basically saving my life right there. And I'll never forget that. I'll take that to my grave pretty much, because that's the reason why I'm still in LA and I'm still here, is because you guys came together and you guys donated money to me. And that money went to paying my rent to my apartment and to help me pay my bills. And also in the very beginning, I was just home. I was very depressed. Chemo eats your brain away. So like I had suicide thoughts. There's some dark times in my life, I think, in the first few months of chemo. And then that's pretty much where I met my fiance. We met through pretty much the Facebook post. And because she was following me through that. And here we are now. So she was kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel of 2018 for me.
How did she find you? Like, did she have other mutual comedian friends? Or?
Yeah, we had mutual comedian friends. She also followed a podcast I was doing. And that's how we pretty much met. And we were Facebook friends through that. And then she started just liking and commenting on some of the posts I made. And then eventually there was one night, I think I was laying in bed, and just one of my dark nights, and she messaged me like around midnight, and she's just like, I'm really inspired by your post and what you're doing. If you need anything, I'm here for you. Just give me a call. And I just decided, you know what, the hell with it. And I gave her a call, and here we are. She's the mother of my daughter.
Oh my God. I think that is such a, you know what it is, Ryan? I think it speaks volumes of her character, because I think most people would be like, this dude is going through a lot. I don't know if I'll be part of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
People don't even want to be around you if you have a fucking flu, let alone going through chemo.
Well, what's weird too with having cancer was that some people treated like having cancer like it's having the flu, like I was contagious. Like I shouldn't be around people. That's like, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been very, very interesting, but I do really take that when I was sick, going through chemo, and how I kept doing comedy, and I kept performing. That was pretty much my 4th and 5th month. I was going up doing stand up, and then I did record an album towards the tail end of my my treatments. I think it was my 9th treatment. I actually was like 3 days after my 9th treatment. I was doing my album. I was on stage performing, and I was sick as a dog up there, and I was very weak, but I still did it. I performed over an hour on stage.
Good for you, man. That's that's amazing. What I wanted to ask you is, do you have any other members in your family who have had cancer? Like, is there a history of it?
No, it's funny, is my grandmother is the only one I know of, and she had breast cancer and lung cancer. She had lung cancer from being a heavy smoker, and then she had breast cancer, and she's a survivor of both. But that's it. There's nobody else that I know of. Well, maybe on my mom's side, but I don't know my mom's side that well. So I only know my dad's side, and that's the only one I know, is that my grandmother was a 2-time survivor.
That's amazing. I mean, how the hell do you get blood cancer?
I don't. Everyone's been asking about that. People have been saying it's probably the Roundup. I don't really live around a bunch of yards or anything like that. I don't do yard work, so I'm not using Roundup, because Roundup has that big lymphoma.
That's right, lawsuit, right?
Yeah, lawsuit. Everyone's like, get some money off of that. I'm like, I don't have anything. I don't have any Roundup near me. So I don't know how I got it. When I went to the doctors, they asked me where I lived. I live in the Valley, but I don't live near Porter Ranch. Porter Ranch has a big problem with a gas leak where a lot of people got sick. I was not one of them, so I was too far from that. I never go to Porter Ranch, so I don't know how I got it. It's really weird. People even said my diet could have been it, because I was a heavy drinker at the time, and even my doctor said, even though my heavy drinking doesn't really count as the blood cancer.
Right.
So,
right. I would think it would kill your liver more than it would give you.
Yeah, it would destroy my liver, which your lymph nodes do work together with your liver, but it wouldn't. I had to be drinking like gallons of whiskey just to probably get lymphoma, and I'll drink gallons of whiskey. So I really don't know. It's very mysterious of how I got it. So and my chances of getting it again, they slim after every year. So I still get anxiety after every because I get my blood test and all that kind of stuff. Also, what's really weird is that I have a daughter. My doctor told me the day I was diagnosed, he was like, your chances of having a kid is very slim to none. Do you want to freeze your sperm? And I was just like, how much money? And he was like, 5,000. I was like, no, thank you. So I don't understand that by way of, it would cost me, if I want to have a kid, it would be $5,000, or I can donate and they pay me. I don't understand that. But for me to freeze my own sperm, it would be $5,000, and I did not have that money.
You can't just freeze it in your own freezer? It's way cheaper. I said, can't freeze it in your own freezer, right? I can freeze my own eggs in my own freezer.
Well, I had a really weak freezer at the time. It was made by it was a cooler, pretty much.
I went to get my eggs frozen about 2 years ago, and I asked him how much it was going to cost.
Yeah.
And I think each egg is going to cost somewhere between $7,000 and $15,000. And I was just like, it's fine. I can just die alone. We'll just it's fine.
That's pretty much what the doctors say is like, it'll cost $5,000 to freeze your sperm. And I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good. And then 2 years later, here we are. I got so
that's amazing.
You saw that coming.
I think you are such a great success story and such an inspirational story. And I think that's why I wanted to bring you on and talk to you about. Let me ask you, like, when you go through these kind of earth-shattering, like these massive life-changing moments, which I have experienced a couple of times. I got diagnosed with a brain aneurysm about 2-3 years ago. And my father died of a brain aneurysm, and my grandmother died of a brain aneurysm. My aunt had a brain aneurysm. So it's a family thing. My brother has 3 brain aneurysms. So it's like they say that if your dad has it, your chance of having it is like 50% higher of having it.
Okay.
So I have to go get my brain scanned every year to make sure that it's not growing and there's no other aneurysms growing.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I've been smoking so much fucking weed between last year and this year that when I went for my brain scan this year, the results came back and they were like, we can't find the aneurysm. It's gone. And I'm like, yo, I think I smoked it away.
Yeah. Weed is magic. I found out when I was sick was CBD bath bombs. It was the best thing ever. Because my body was the chemo just deteriorates your body and you just feel like garbage. And then you just lay in CBD water. And it just soaks into your bones. It's the best thing.
What does it do for you? Does it help you go to sleep? Is that what
it just helps? Yeah, it helps me relax. It helps me sleep. Nausea is a big thing with chemo. Nausea and depression, pretty much. That's like the two things that will just eat you alive. And the CBD kind of just like relaxes you and makes you forget that your stomach, you can't eat anything. You don't have taste in your mouth. And so the CBD kind of makes you relax and forget about it, because I was taking edibles in the very beginning and that was not helping me because that was just giving me an anxiety. So
edibles would, I think it affects different people differently.
Yeah. Oh, it gave me like serious, like bad anxiety. I was like, no, we're not doing this again. So I really haven't had an edible since I was sick. That was the last time I did it. Yeah.
Wow. Ryan, what is when you finally overcame it and thank God, it went away and we're back to health. I mean, looking back on, you've been through a lot and just in the past 3 years, what are some of the lessons that you've taken away from your experience with cancer and everything?
Appreciate life in general. Just appreciate it. Just accept, in the same way as I appreciate it, accept what you have, be grateful. It's such a weird thing. Also, none of this matters. So that's what I realized too.
What matters? None of what matters.
Just everything, in your life, just worry about yourself, worry about your family, people worry too much about the outer spectrum that you can't control. You got to control yourself first, and you got to change yourself. And then you can change things around you, and then you can slowly build up. But there's so many people that get so wound up on things that are so much bigger and things that they can't even touch, or people that don't even know who they are, that it just wastes so much energy on. For me, I realized I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of my family and my friends. That's it. And everything else, you'll be chaotic in a way. if that makes sense. So going with the pandemic is it's like I can't control everybody. It's impossible. But what I can do is I can teach my stepkids, I can teach my daughter, my fiance, my closest friends, my work, of how we can be better people. And that's it. I can't control everything that's going outside at my house, down the street, in the grocery store. Yeah. That's just, you're dictating too much. You're trying to gain control. So I don't like that. I just, when you appreciate everything that's to you, I don't know, you'll feel happier, I guess. It's, my own personal high.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like it also maybe changes your perspective on love? That when you're just like, before you're just like, I'll find someone, who cares? And then after you go through something like this, you're just like, no, life is really precious. You gotta find like that good person and just fucking commit to it.
Yeah, life is beyond precious. Every night I go to sleep next to my fiance and my daughter. My daughter sleeps between us. That wasn't me 3 years ago.
She doesn't have her own little crib. She's so little.
She has a little crib, but she cries too much. So she wants to be
in the crib. She cries.
She cries. Yeah, she doesn't want to be alone. She wants to be held the entire time. So we have her between us, and I wake up to every morning, and I'm just like, I'm blessed. I'm beyond blessed. Yeah. That's the best feeling. I never ever expected to be a dad, and here I am. It beats out every performance I've done in stand up. Everything. Just like to see that's life I brought.
That's your Oscar, dude. That's your Oscar.
I mean, I fought so hard to live 2 years ago, and here's someone that's going to take the torch and move another 50 years ahead. So I think that's it just changes everything. So it changes everything I see.
Did you want to have kids, Ryan? Like even before you got diagnosed and all that?
It's funny. Before I moved to LA, I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have kids. I wanted that whole family lifestyle. And then I went through a bad breakup at the time, and I moved to LA. And LA was supposed to be my reboot, my restart. And I was very negative. I just didn't want any of that. I didn't want responsibility. I didn't want a girlfriend. I didn't want kids. I want none of that. And so that obviously stopped, I guess, in a weird way. And but yeah, I mean, at one point in my life, I wanted to have a family, and then I just didn't want it. And then I think after, again, going through cancer, just like, I want that. I want that very warm, homely feel that I wanted so long ago, I guess, in my 20s. But I spent, I guess, a big portion of my 30s just not wanting that.
Right. Because I feel like, heartbreak also makes you a little jaded, at least for a bit.
Yes.
For some people, it's a fucking lifetime of jaded.
Yes. No, absolutely. Yeah.
But you also kind of have to then just come to terms to be like, falling in love and getting your heart broken just kind of goes hand in hand, right? Yeah. It's a chance you took. You took your heart and gave it to somebody that you trusted with it, and then they fucked it up, and then they crushed it, and they gave it back to you, and you're like, I gotta put this back together now.
Oh, it introduced me to alcohol, pretty much. That's pretty much what it did to me. I was like, oh, alcohol. I mean, I drank it, but like, it tastes even better when you're sad. And so that happened to me.
Better than weed? Better than weed, right?
Oh, alcohol was way better than weed for me. It was because it made me write more. Weed makes me tired. Weed makes me want to go to sleep. Alcohol makes me write, but then also it makes me write in the middle of the night. It makes me write weird Facebook posts. And then you go into Facebook memories and you go to 2013. You're like, what the hell? Why did I write that? So that's basically where I'm going with 2020 right now. I've been spending a lot of time looking at my Facebook memories and realized, wow, I'm really depressed back then. So life has really changed for me. So
I think ever since I got on Facebook to now, I think pretty much most of my Facebook posts are just depression. It's just like one brush of depression, and
it's hard. I get it.
Anger and wrath, just all of it. Like
I get it. I was one of them. I was one of them. I was part of that club.
I get it, man. What? I mean, look, 2020 was a horrible year for a lot of people, but it sounds like 2020 was a kind of, in a way, a very good year for you. You had your kid.
My daughter was born. My daughter was born a few months ago. That was that's my highlight, 2020. Yes, 2020 was hard. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, I work in a deli. I deal with like crazy customers all the time. So, there's been hard days, and we're scrounging for money. I mean, we're doing okay, but it's not like it was a year ago.
Sure.
The reality is there, but then you got to appreciate what you have at the same time. And so, yeah, I do miss the stage. I miss doing stand up. My last time I performed in front of a crowd was in a park. That's not the same from doing it in a bar or a club.
Sure.
So, but I appreciate at the same time. I did a few Zoom shows. I produced a few. You were on one of them. I did in the very beginning, and then I got too tired of doing that. So I realized producing Zoom shows are actually more exhausting than actually producing a live show.
When you do in-person shows, there's a vibe. There's an energy that you feed off of each other.
Yeah.
There's nothing to really feed off of because there's this huge barrier of fucking internet. Like it's a virtual barrier.
Yeah. It's like I can literally, like, if I'm like, you know what, I'm done, I can just like close my computer and walk away, which makes it, but doing the club or doing the bars, it's kind of like you're stuck there. You're stuck with the vibe. You got to feel the vibe. And then when you bomb or you have a good set or whatever it is, you kind of soak it in. You talk to your peers, you have a drink or two, and you just enjoy the evening. It was our escape. That was the beauty of it. And our escape now is in our own bedroom. Or in our bed, pretty much. Everyone's just doing their, like, the thing is, I saw someone post like a week ago. It's like I did a set in my bed, and I'm like, God, we're going that low right now for doing comedy. That we're just in bed.
I think that's pretty low. But if he said I did it from the shitter, I'd be like, no, we can wrap this up. We can wrap this up right now.
Which I'm pretty sure a few have done it from the shitter. People have done it in their cars. Like they just took their phone and performed. Like, what are you doing? Well, I'm in the line. I'm getting Carl's Jr. right now, but I got to do my Zoom show. And like, it just takes away. It kind of just
magic to it.
The magic of it. The magic of driving 3 hours to San Diego just to do 10 minutes. And that whole feeling, because now people are like, oh, I'm doing the comedy festival in San Diego, but it's online, so I can just do it from Sherman Oaks. I'm like, what? That's not the same. So it's just like the grind is kind of, it's a weird kind of grind because it's going mental now, and it's not it's not the physical exhaustion. It's like a mental exhaustion.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2020, I think what it did for me, I think it did a lot of similar things than you, which is, just the appreciation for life. And I'm just like, wow, I'm like, you know what? I can wake up to know that, thank God, I'm healthy. I have a roof over my head. I get to eat whatever the hell I want. I have a beautiful dog who's, thank God, is healthy, and she's great, and she keeps me company, and she's kept me fucking sane throughout this entire crazy year.
Yeah.
To do these online live streams with awesome people like yourself. So I'm just like, this is great. Like this is a blessing. It's hard, but it's a blessing. But I think I look at 2020, and I think what 2020 did, I think for most of the world, or all of it, is that it checked us. It checked us real hard.
Yes.
It's just like, you're not so fucking powerful, and you're not that good. I will fucking take you out like that. I will take you out.
Yeah. I think that's the beauty. I mean, in the comedy world, the bookers, the bringer bookers are collapsed. They're done. And they've been tried in the beginning to do like these bringer Zoom shows. It didn't work out. Yeah. And so that collapsed. I feel there's a complete reboot in the comedy scene. I was just talking to another comic a few days ago about it, and how there's a huge exodus going on in LA, and they're all moving to Texas or whatever it is. Yeah. My belief is that you taking all the LA comics and they're going to Austin and Miami and whatever it is, you're just moving the virus over there. That's all you're doing. So you're not helping anything out. So Austin will shut down in 2 months, and then LA will come back up, and LA will be reopening, dine in or dine out restaurants or whatever it is, the alfresco thing that will reopen in 2 months, as Austin, Texas, and Miami, Florida will shut down again.
So Florida, of course, the governor there is also batshit crazy.
Oh, he's
Trump supporting.
Yeah,
He's more batshit. everything is open in Florida.
Yes.
Gyms, restaurant, everything is open.
Yes.
They shut nothing down. They shut it down and then they just open everything back up. So I think we might be doing Miami a favor by sending our comedians to California.
And there's been a whole argument among like, oh, we're shut down, but we're having all these outbreaks still. And then there's Florida and everything's open and whatnot. People kind of forget that San Francisco and Los Angeles are two of the largest airports in the world. And they're also hubs that bring in international people and also other flights from all over the country that go into LA and in San Francisco, SFO. And that's how the virus spreads as well. So people don't actually process that, thinking that, oh, the shutdown thing, like as Miami and then Tampa and then Jacksonville and Tallahassee, their airports are not even close to being as big as LAX and SFO, where the viruses do spread. And then it just, people don't understand it's how viruses spread and how they move around, but that's the reason why. But if you're taking out the exodus and everyone's leaving LA to go to Austin, the virus will just spread in Texas.
Yeah. I mean, again, the governor there, my family lives in Texas, and they have gotten super strict in Dallas. They're just like super strict. Wear your mask. Like people begin to lose their shit if you don't have your mask on. It's interesting because, and I would think that mentality probably shifted. I'm going to take credit for it as a Californian. It's just like, I think it's because of all the Californians that are moving to Texas, that are moving to Houston. And there's the people who are just like, cover your fucking shit up. Like cover it up. I don't know. I don't want to get sick. Property value is skyrocketing in Texas because
I believe it.
Yeah.
And actually, weirdly enough, its property value is dropping a little, but it'll be more as time goes in Los Angeles as well. So because we're shopping for a house.
I don't know, Ryan. I don't know how much the property value is going to drop here, man. I have real estate friends I'm talking to. Yeah.
I have hope. So
I was supposed to buy a place in Vegas this year. That was my plan.
Oh, you gonna move to Vegas?
No, just have an investment property.
Oh, investment property in Vegas. Vegas will be booming as well. I know a lot of comics that move to Vegas as well. Vegas, Arizona, and Texas. Those are the three states that people are going to.
Yep.
But also, all three states are a little bit more lenient with how the virus is working. Also, you got to remember, California is just one of the largest states and also has one of the largest economies, and so we have more to gamble with the virus compared to
Arizona,
Rhode Island. So it's two different.
Nobody's going to Rhode Island. Nobody's going to Rhode Island, Brian. I mean, I would go to Rhode Island just to meet Bernie Sanders, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, he's not from Rhode Island. He's from Vermont. So.
He's Vermont. Yeah, I have family in Vermont too.
Then fuck Rhode Island too. So there's also
it's all the same. They're all so close together. It's all the same.
It's a tiny little state. Ryan, what kind of predictions you got for me, man, for 2021? How much different is 2021 going to be than 2020?
I believe that the social distancing is going to be a thing among just Americans in general or in the world. Even when the virus is gone, I think that we're all going to be kind of social distant. Also, I believe that the vaccine will be a thing for riding trains and planes. And I'm not talking about trains as in the subway, but I'm talking about taking Amtrak, and I'm thinking about airlines. So you got to have a vaccine. And it's also the vaccine, because this is all new to me as being a father, is that everyone gets the flu shots for school. The vaccine will be a new shot for the kids for school.
Sure.
I do believe in that. It's just going to be another shot for a kid. And kids already have like 20,000 shots in them before they even reach a senior. So I think it's just another one for them to have, sadly. And then also with anything of the live events, they will reopen, but I don't think it will be the same. I don't think people will come out. So, and that's for anything in general. I think they're going to really redesign stadiums and arenas and clubs and whatnot. A nightclub, I don't know. I really can't see that. I was watching a movie the other day ago. The movie's 10 years old, and it was seen at a nightclub. I'm like, wow, that seems so weird. I think they're all hanging out and dancing with strangers. That doesn't seem right now. So I feel like that our culture is already shifting and changing. Yeah. And then the young people are the ones that are going to see it more than us. Yeah. We're the old people. We're becoming the boomers now.
That's true. That's true. Getting up there.
So we're going to see a different kind of thing. And as the young people, as the 18, 19-year-olds, they're the ones that are going to be building this whole social distancing and whatnot, because before you know it, they'll be 21 and they'll be the ones that can, that will want to go to the clubs and go to these restaurants and whatnot, not us.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I don't know. I really feel like there's things are going to change and evolve, and I don't think things are going to reopen completely. But in a weird way, it might be the end of an era of a very socialized as in a socialization of social, I'm talking about socialized as in talking world that we used to live in, because this is how we're communicating now.
Right. I feel like social distancing might, first of all, the entire objective right now is for us as Americans to get vaccinated. That's number one.
Yes.
Then there's going to be the conversation of, okay, does Europe have vaccination? Does Middle East has vaccination? Yeah. I mean, Australian airline Qantas has already, they've already stated their policy that in order to board their plane, you have to be vaccinated. I mean, you have to give them proof that you've been vaccinated.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how I feel like the social distancing probably would continue for about another 4 years, maybe 5 years. And I think that it drops off, I think.
Pending. I mean, as of now, people are all paranoid with each other. You can't even, no one's going to lean into someone at the grocery store, or when you want to reach over and grab a can of tomatoes or whatever, you got to like wait for that one person to go by in the alley or in the aisle. So it's kind of already kind of weird. People are kind of staying far and apart from each other. And humans we're animals at the end. It's all about instinct. And so if you train yourself doing this, we're going to keep doing it. And so, like for my stepkids, my two youngest, they go outside on their scooters every morning, and we tell them to put their masks on. Before they even put their shoes on, they put their masks on. They're going to keep doing that. Right. So, and they're young. They're 6 and 7. So that's the thing. We're all trained in our head. So you keep doing it, and it's really repetitive. We're going to keep doing it. The masks are like, we're all doing it. We all have a mask next to our door now before we leave. Before we go to the gas station, we need to put our mask on. So it's going to be a hard thing to break right now. And so I feel, we're almost a year in. Thank
God for the vaccine. That's here already. Thank God for that. I was thinking about this today. People coming out and saying, I don't know what's in the vaccine. And it's just like, I have witnessed this firsthand with certain women that go to the bathroom, who use the bathroom, and they use the stall and they walk right out. And I'm just, you've been eating with your poop hands for years. You think you're worried about the fucking vaccine and what's going on? Get the fuck out of here right now. I've literally witnessed you not wash your hands after using the bathroom and just walking right out like it was nothing. And you're worried about the vaccine.
Yeah. Well, people are also, kind of like, oh, they're going to put a chip inside you and all that kind of, all the crazy conspiracies they're putting through of the vaccine, or how it's going to, I don't know, just like some people might get sick and whatnot. It's like taking a flu shot. The first thing they ask you, are you allergic to eggs? And like, no. Okay, great. Well, we're going to give you the flu shot. So it's just like, I thought
you said, are you allergic to AIDS? And I was just like, everybody's allergic to AIDS. Nobody.
It's a flu shot and AIDS.
Sorry. Eggs. Okay, eggs. Okay.
Eggs. But yeah, it's just like it's just another shot at the end of the day. And so I know there's a lot of people that are, again, everyone's freaked out for their own right or reason. And at the end, it's just like, I gotta say, in the next 50 years, that vaccine is going to be rolled out where everyone's taking it. The pretty much the first week they're born, they're taking a COVID-19 vaccine. And basically that's how it's going to work. Right now, there's so many Americans that just don't want it, because it's just, again, they're just crazy people. But you got to get the young people, and you got to get those people moving.
Yeah. I mean, the anti-vaxxers have been around for a while, no thanks to people like Jenny McCarthy, who goes out there and spreads all these crazy anti-vaxxer notion of all children get autism because of vaccines. And it's just like, well, time and time research has shown that simply is not the case. That's just not the case. So we also have that. But I feel like those arenas of like packing out arenas and packing out fucking football stadiums and comedy clubs or even dance clubs. I think that's going to be a while before we go back to that.
That's going to be sadly, it's going to be a long, long time. So as much as I want to get back on stage and go to the clubs and whatnot, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time and patience. Going back to when I was sick, it's just patience.
Yeah.
You can't run to another state and do it all over. I mean, like even you go to Texas and you go to Florida, there's still restrictions over there. Certain kind of things are open, but they still have some restrictions of wearing face masks and social distancing. California is just on a shutdown. It's a lockdown here.
Right.
So,
well, we don't have a lockdown. We have a stay-at-home order.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are confusing the lockdowns with. So, like for instance, Australia had a lockdown for like 3 months. You were not allowed to leave a certain perimeter from your house, and if you did, you were being given between $1,500 and $2,000 tickets.
They should have done it here.
That's a lockdown. Like
it's a lockdown.
Nothing is open, no delivery. Everything is at home. Everything.
I think for the United States, we just don't believe in that at the same time.
We don't believe in science. If the pandemic has revealed anything, is that there's a lot of ignorant, dumb idiots who don't believe in science.
No, they don't. And it's just beyond frustrating right now. So, and that's why we're here. That's why you and I are talking right now on New Year's Day, which we could have done this live, maybe in front of a crowd of people, but we can't do that. So that's just basically where we are. And that's why what's happening right now. People are just so anti on everything. There was 900 people arrested in LA County last night for these underground parties.
Wow. Wasn't there a concert happening? I forget. Was it in Orange County? There was a concert happening, or was it in Valencia?
There was one at the beach. No, was it Valencia? I don't know. I know Kirk Cameron did one in like Thousand Oaks or something like that. And then he did one.
Yeah, I think it was in the valley somewhere.
Yeah. And then he did another one at the beach, I think near Ventura. He's a nutbag. But that's just, and then there's another thing going on in Echo Park, and then there's the one in Skid Row, and it's like this church group, and they're trying to like congregate and get together and telling people to take off their masks.
Oh my god.
And then they've been stampedes. They call them stampedes, and they go into grocery stores, and they've been to Ralph's, they've been to Trader Joe's, and they storm. There's at least about 80 to maybe 100 of them. They'll storm into a grocery store without their masks on. And then they'll taunt people wearing their masks, and they'll try to get people to take off their masks and whatnot. It's chaos. It's complete chaos.
But and so you said, but these people got arrested, you said.
So many people got arrested last night for underground parties. They had underground parties last night because of New Year's Eve. So they had parties of like 100 plus people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times like LAPD here and people in LA have been just like, dude, we have stay-at-home orders, like everything is shut down. How the fuck are the cases spiking? I'll tell you how the cases are spiking. Not do we people have underground fucking parties going on. If you go on just Instagram and look at people's stories, there are full-blown, no mask, no social distancing parties happening in Hollywood Hills. How do I know this? Because I have been invited to a couple of them. That's how the fuck I know. And I'm like, are you motherfuckers for real? We're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. I am not coming to your goddamn party. Fuck off. Like, are you nuts? And people are like, I don't understand why this is happening. Go to Hollywood Hills. Go send some cops up there. Arrest these fuckers. Like, really?
It's the hills. It's everywhere. So it's basically chaotic, and people are taking action the wrong way. And again, it's why we're here. And what's sad is
but it all trickles down from the top, right, Ryan? I mean, it's leadership, right?
Oh,
leadership sucks. Newsom and Garcetti suck.
Garcetti's garbage.
Yeah,
he's terrible. And he's pandering towards, he's kissing the ass of Newsom, and he'll do anything that Newsom does. But the problem with Newsom is that he doesn't know how to govern the state, because he does certain things, but then he tells every county do it differently, and then he tells every city do it differently, and then every town do it differently. And so no one's on the same level. And so that's the problem. So you have San Joaquin Valley, that's like a section, and then you have Southern California as a section for the ICU beds. It say Southern California's ICU beds are are going to just 0%. But then all of a sudden, San Joaquin Valley has 15%. So things can reopen. What that happens is that all these LA residents will start going up to Bakersfield and Fresno to go to the clubs, to go to the restaurants, to go to the malls, because everything's reopened there, as Southern California is closed. That's the problem. No one's on the same level of how these things should be. And so that's why people are moving around too much.
If
you keep the entire state closed for 3 weeks, which they should have done back in March, we would not be here.
That's right.
We'll be in better shape.
We should have done a lockdown, but again, that goes back all the way to the top under a Trump presidency, where Trump is coming out and downplaying the level of damage that this thing was going to do. You go back and watch his videos where he's just blatantly saying it. Well, it's just going to disappear. It's just going to dissipate on its own, and it's like, no, it's not. We have over 200,000 Americans, over 300,000 Americans that our ICUs are filled to the brim. I mean, it's horrible.
It's disgusting, and it goes, you're right, to the leadership, to the top. When you just simply have a leader that tells you this is bad, everyone stay home, please, everyone stay home. This is a pandemic to the entire country. It might take people might take it differently. The thing is that Trump has such a cult following. He can say the stupidest stuff and people will listen. They'll do it. So if he actually just said this pandemic is serious, his crazy followers would actually probably listen and take it seriously, but they didn't. And now we're kind of stuck in this mess.
Yep. And until we all get vaccinated, I mean, listen, you and I actually want to ask you a question about that. Now that, thank God, that you're healthy and the cancer's gone, does this mean that like your immune system is the same way as it was pre-cancer?
No, I'm high risk with this whole pandemic. I'm a high risk.
You are high risk.
Yeah. So my immune system is not the same. It's weaker. It's strong, but it's weaker. So if I do get it, so back in January, I got really sick. So literally like 12 months ago, I did get really, really sick. And this is before the pandemic hit, but we already knew that COVID was kind of going around in China at the time. And we thought it didn't make the United States. But I had a really bad cough, flu-like symptoms. I was coughing phlegm. I was on the brink of actually going to the hospital. And I was like, this is bad. I remember I was coughing so hard. I bruised my ribs. I couldn't breathe. I was in bad shape. And I was
all COVID symptoms, all of them.
All COVID symptoms. And I was out for at least about 2 weeks. And so I was like, did I get it? Like, was that it? But that was bad. I almost went to the hospital. And then a friend of mine, 2 friends got it. And then my entire family got it. They were all sick. And then my work, they were sick. It was like very contagious of what we got. And so, but was that it? I don't know. But then again, it was a virus that knocked me out pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, and the virus was already here in January. I mean, the virus had actually arrived in November, believe it or not.
It was there for a while.
November 2019. I remember talking to this guy, and he was telling me that around December, he was in Tokyo, took a flight from Tokyo for work, got landed in LAX, and he's like, I'm walking through the parking lot to pick up the rental, and I collapse in the parking lot. And somebody came and picked him up, and he was just like, I don't even know what the hell happened. I just blacked out. I just collapsed.
Yeah.
Then I was sitting up, and he goes like, I was so sick I couldn't breathe. And those were all COVID symptoms. So my question to you is, did you get tested for antibodies?
For when I was sick or when I was
now?
No, I have not actually. I have an appointment coming up, so I need to ask them. So, but yeah, I mean, I should double check on that. It's a good question. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, because if you survived it and maybe you did have COVID and just didn't know about it. And it's interesting, right? Going back to like the psychological thing. Like, let's say if we had known at the time in January, like, oh, COVID is here, and you got sick and you were like, fuck, I have COVID, and I think I'm gonna and mentally you start talking yourself into that shit. But because mentally you didn't even know what the fuck it was, and you just thought it was a cold, your body was just like, it's just a cold, we'll fight it.
You just treat it like anything else, and that's what I did. And so, but then you think about now, and that's the problem too with COVID, is that when people do get COVID right now, because there's a lot of people that we know in the community are getting COVID.
Yeah.
it's the most horrible thing ever for them. It's now like it's getting up there from being diagnosed to cancer. It's like it's scary for them because they don't know what's going to happen next. Because COVID is like a roll of the dice. It's kind of like you might have mild symptoms and you're gonna have a little cough, and you're going to be home for 14 days and you're gonna watch a movie and smoke weed all the time, or you're coughing really hard and you're in the ICU and you're on the brink of death. It's one or the other. It's kind of scary, and so. I think that's going to change the way people see their symptoms as well as we go into 2021, is that you see someone have like a mild cough, they don't know where that's going to take them now. It's not about having a lump on your body, your neck, your chest, or whatever it is now. It's now just that lingering cough or that sniffle. That's horrifying. That's, I think, more scary now than even having the lump.
I think that's even more scarier than having a gun. It's just like, don't cough, dude. Don't cough.
Because now you're a walking weapon.
Yeah, exactly. You're totally a walking weapon. I mean, that's the new curse word. The cough is. The
cough. It's horrible. Go in the metro. One person coughs, they all move. Everyone moves.
Everybody's on the other side. The person
and I remember right before when the pandemic went full force, there were people like everyone was coughing.
Yeah.
Do you remember how there were people who were like really sick between January to March?
I remember.
People were like in the comedy community, people were like falling like flies. So was that it? I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm no doctor.
I feel like so many people already had COVID and then it disappeared. You know, they developed antibodies and stuff, and they just kind of went about their lives. But I think the one thing that really upsets me, because I bring on scientists on my live stream, I bring on doctors on my live stream who work in, you know, who are pathologists, who work in infectious, you know, disease labs and stuff. And so these are all very qualified people. So that's why I bring them on, because I don't know their stuff. So I want to talk to them. And one of the key things that they all talk about is that, you know, the key thing is that, you know, it is not like the flu. And it's like that shit needs to go. And of course, we know that it came from Trump, because Trump is the one who went up and said it's like the flu. So now everybody's like, oh, it's just like the flu. So it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. But the key thing that all of them agree on is that they're still learning about the disease.
It's
evolving.
Still
learning about it.
And diseases mutate and they evolve and they keep changing. And
look, I mean, think about the virus that's coming through from UK right now.
The UK, yeah. And there's a case in San Diego as a 30-year-old male that has it, and he never traveled anywhere. So he just got it. So again, I mean, what's magnificent about the virus is that it's a virus, and as much it evolves and changes as much as we do. And so as much as we fight it, or we try to slow things down, or we try to find a vaccine, it fights its way to survive.
Yep.
Because that's its job. And so that's the crazy thing about the whole thing. I don't think people understand that.
Yeah, you know, I was asking one of the doctors that I had on. He's a pathologist from New York, and one of the key things I asked him was, "Hey, you know, so let's say we have an evolved strain, right? Like the one that's coming from UK, and I was, does this mean that now you have to go back to the drawing board and come up with a new vaccine or a more evolved vaccine?" And he goes, "No, it doesn't work that way." He goes, "Thus far, it seems like once you get the vaccine, which you get 2 shots of, where you get the first shot, then you wait another 20-21 days, and then you get the second shot." Okay. He goes, it will cover the strain. I mean, it will cover, even if the strain metamorphosizes or whatever, the vaccine will still protect you. He goes, however, but if you are not vaccinated, then of course, you know, you're bound to get it, and it's going to do whatever it's, you know, in your body. But he goes, if I remember correctly, I think he had told me that you can possibly maybe get the evolved strain even if you're vaccinated, but it won't, blow up in your body. Like you won't get any symptoms, but you might just become the carrier of it, and then possibly maybe pass it on to someone who's not.
Wonderful. It just keeps moving. It just keeps moving. So that's why getting vaccinated is a really big deal. You know what really disturbed me and made me really sad is that I had some fellow comedians come and post on my posts about fucking get vaccinated, to be like, I'm not getting vaccinated. I don't know what's in it. I'm not doing this. And it's just like,
but you're supposed to be the informed, educated one. Like, why did you make that comment? This is absurd.
Yeah. It's, but again, I mean, and that's why we're stuck in this kind of stay-at-home order until everyone kind of gets on the same page. So that, again, it's going to take some time. So going back to like the flu shots, I mean, like, I know so many people are like, I'm not going to give my kid a flu shot. And I'm like, so just give your kid a damn flu shot. Just do it. So
I got a flu shot this year. Did you get a flu shot?
Yeah, I have to get a flu shot.
Right.
My immune system is not the same like it used to be. So I'm a high risk. It scares me out there, but it's all about trust at the same time. You just got to trust around the people I did a podcast a few days ago with a friend, and I had to go to his house, but I knew that he was healthy and he was fine, and so that's a whole trust issue right there.
Sure.
So I'm not gambling anything going out there. And that's another thing. When things reopen, I will keep my distance and I will wear a mask until pretty much there's no more COVID. Like it's just gone. I have to keep wearing a mask. I have to keep my distance.
Yeah. I mean, what about your like stepkids? I mean, they're little. Are they kind of allowed to go out and play and maybe mingle with some other kids?
Sadly, they have not mingled with any kids since the pandemic. But it's sad, but it's good. The two youngest to go play. So
yeah. I mean, because you have to be. I mean, so are you working right now, Ryan, or you're not?
I'm working. So I'm back on the roads. I'm driving again, and but I've taken the metro a few times. But again, when I take the metro, I'm very cautious of what I'm taking and who I'm sitting with. Right. And also, it's as simple as washing your hands, and again, washing your hands, keeping your face mask on, staying 6 feet away from people. It's pretty self-explanatory what you need to do. If you're walking around without a mask on and you have not gloves on, you're not washing your hands all the time, you're putting crap in your face and all that kind of stuff, that's how you're gonna get sick. That's how you got sick before. COVID is not, it's a dangerous virus, but it's like any other virus at the same time. So it's contagious. That's all it is. It's like getting the cold or the flu. So if you know someone that's sick, you want to stay away from them. As simple as that.
Right. And also, it's airborne, right? Before it was just like lock everything down and this and that. And it's like, oh, shit, it's airborne. Like everything, it's like what you're breathing, hence the social distancing and all this. Yeah. I mean, Ryan, I honestly, I pray to God that you stay safe out there, and
you as well.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, because you are high risk, that must put you towards the front of the line to get a vaccine, I would think.
I should. Again, I got to talk to my doctor about that. I don't know because I'm a cancer survivor, so I'm no longer a cancer patient. Yeah. So I don't know where I fall on the list if they want to give to the patients first and then the survivors after, or how that works. I don't know if you've been to the hospital in the last 9 months, but it is the most. If you want real anxiety, I have to go there every 4 months still and have a checkup, and that's anxiety times 100 right there. What's going on?
No, that's a lot. I mean, when you go to the hospital, like when you're sitting in the waiting room, everybody's social distancing, right?
No, it's beyond social distancing right now. It's pretty crazy. So like the room I go to for my checkup, it used to have like 25 other survivors or patients with me. Now it's like 5. So they pretty much taken all the chairs out.
Wow. I mean, they have to. I mean, that's the more responsible thing to do. It's just like, listen, patients are not coming here to get just checkups. They also don't want to fucking get sick while they're here.
Yeah. You get sick anywhere. It's kind of weird how everything's working right now because you can still go to the grocery store and they'll pack it out with like 500 people. But, go to
Pasadena is be like, we're going to open up our restaurants. We don't care. Your LA County, you can't tell us what to do. And it's just like, actually, we can. We're the government.
Yeah, that whole thing, again, no one's on the same wavelength of things. So, like, LA County is saying shut it down, and Pasadena is saying, like, fuck you. And so it's like, what? That's the reason why things are not working out.
I mean, Orange County was saying fuck you. It's just like, yo, fucking get
San Diego County was another one too. All these lawsuits, it's like I understand. I have friends that own bars, they're losing money. I get it. I understand.
But see, and that goes back again to leadership sitting at the top.
Again.
The point of the PPP loans
Yes.
was to help out the small businesses survive, so they don't have to fucking protest. They don't have to, take it to the streets or file lawsuits or fight. Because look, if you worked your ass off all your life and you took your life saving and invested in a business that was thriving before the fucking pandemic hit, and now you're at the verge of losing everything you ever worked for in your entire life, you can fucking live it too.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I have compassion for that. I'm not like against that. But the PPP loans, when you have Harvard getting a fucking $10 million check or $20 million check for, get the fuck out of here. Why is Harvard getting a $20 million check while small businesses are suffering and can't get a fucking check to save their lives? This is fucking ridiculous.
I think that's one of the biggest problems right now is that the government is not supporting any mom and pop shops, that all local businesses are shutting down and they have no support. And then again, the Walmarts and the Targets, the McDonald's, they're reaping off the benefits of this because Americans are Target's a great one-stop shop. You can get it all done, but you're not supporting that mom and pop shop down the street that's been there for 80 years that's going to shut down because they can't afford the rent. Right. And again, the landlords don't give a shit. So, because it's everything at the end, it's all business. It's all business at the end, and there's no compassion.
Right. Which the government is supposed to take care of its own, and they clearly have failed. And just like Mitch McConnell, not to get too much into politics because that's what I talk about all day fucking long, and after a while my brain begins to burn.
Oh yeah.
But when you picked a Senate leader like Mitch McConnell, who should be fucking recalled from his position, to say no, $2,000 is too much money for Americans. $2,000 after 89 months of a measly $1,200 check is too much for Americans. You're fired. You are fucking fired. Get the fuck out of here right now. Like
that whole thing. That what was so mind-boggling was whoa, is this when the Republicans and Democrats are actually getting along? Because they're actually they're both pissed. For the first time, I was like, wow, there's actually Trump supporters that are pissed off. Right. This is crazy.
I was amazed that Trump and Bernie came together over the 2000.
They came together. They actually.
What is going on?
What was it? Trump told them to take the $600 back for 2000. The Democrats took it back, made 2000. Yes. They put together. They all loved it, and then McConnell said no.
Yes.
And then Trump, I think didn't Trump tweet too, how McConnell's putting a death wish or something like that. I'm like, whoa, that's probably the best tweet he's made in the last 4 years.
Yep. But you know why he's also saying that though? I mean, McConnell came out and acknowledged Biden's win. Let's not forget that Trump has not conceded yet. Yeah. He still hasn't conceded. So even at his speech that he gave about the $2,000 check, I don't know if you watched it, but towards the end, he's just like, look at me, I'm such a good president. Maybe they'll let me stay, huh? Maybe they'll let me stay and he can serve another term.
Yeah.
It's with a catch. It's with the $2,000 and let me stay as the president. It's like, yo, this is fucking democracy. We have checks and balances here. This isn't fucking Pakistan. I'm from Pakistan, so I can talk shit. You can't just be like, yo, I'm just gonna stay here. Here's a $2,000 check.
Yeah. There's a catch to it for sure.
You can't. Even in Pakistan, they have democratically elected prime minister, and even he's staying in power, and they're not coming out and calling a fucking military coup and taking him out. But even then, even Pakistan is fucking walking down the right path. So why can't America? I mean, this is wrong.
I don't know. We got 20 more days.
20 more days, man. 20 more days. I wonder what he has up his sleeve. But I think this $2,000 thing that Trump wants to run is also his bid for re-election in 2024. That's also him setting himself up to be like, look, I'm a good, generous president. So when I run in 2024, you motherfuckers better come out.
You want to come back. And when was the last president that actually did one term, was gone a term, and came back? I think someone did that in 18. I could be wrong, but he's too old. Who's gonna vote for an 80-year-old man
who eats cheeseburgers and
he'll be 80 something in 4 years? You want that?
No, you know what he's gonna be, Ryan? He's gonna be in prison, is where he's gonna be.
Oh yeah, he'll be serving time.
Listen, the Attorney General in New York and DC are aching to go through his taxes.
Oh yeah.
They're salivating.
February. They're going to take a couple weeks off, and they're going to go right into it in February.
Foaming at the mouth, my friend. Foaming at the mouth. Ryan, we're going to wrap up, man.
Okay.
So are you doing some online, like, do you have some Twitter account or social media you want people to
You can follow me through Instagram at Ryan Talmo. It's pretty simple. Or follow me through Facebook. I don't do Twitter. I should have, but I stopped a couple years ago.
All comedians are on Twitter.
I know. It's just too many social media stuff to control. So I just have the Instagram. Post pictures of my daughter if you want to see that.
Yeah.
And,
she's a replica of you, by the way.
I know. She looks just like me.
She has your face. She stole your entire face.
She got my eyes. Not these stoned eyes, but one of the eyes. But she, anyways, that's all I got going on. I got no shows. I kind of stopped doing Zoom. Anything live, I'll post on there. It would be like a park show or a rooftop show or something that's very social distance, or something like that. And that's pretty much it. What's going on right now. I'm really excited for 2021. What's going to give us ahead. Hopefully it will be good. I think it's going to be good. I think it's a good reboot. I feel like today was a good reboot. We got 364 more days. Yes. Today it's a much needed reboot. Ryan Talmo, this was a really fun conversation. Thank you, Mona. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Stay safe out there. I'll talk to you soon. Well, Happy New Year. Thanks. Same to you. That was the lovely Ryan Talmo. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. I mean, I definitely did. If you haven't followed me on my YouTube channel, you guys, I'm at the verge of hitting 800 subscribers on my YouTube channel and at the verge of getting it monetized. So I'm very, very excited. If you haven't followed me on my YouTube channel, please do. You can go to youtube.com/Mona Sheikh, which is my first and last name, comedian. You can check out a lot of really great content. I have all my Mona's Rants there. I have already hit 104 episodes since the beginning of the pandemic. So I live stream 5 days a week. You can check out my interviews. You can check out me on the Young Turks, all the episodes that I've been on. You can catch my bunch of different interviews I did for NBC. There's a documentary on me that is also on my YouTube channel that you can check out. They did a very cute little documentary on me and my life and how I became a stand-up comic. Also, you can check out my Minority Reports podcast and digital series playlist that is also on my YouTube. And that is where all the good stuff is. I will be back on good old Monday with a brand new guest. You guys stay safe out there. Wear your mask, social distance, and please wash your hands. Have a good night. See you on Monday.